Hello and welcome to another edition of our Unit 2 review videos. This review video is going to focus on graphing systems of inequalities. We're going to look at problem 25 in your study guide from Unit 2. Now, I made a typo. There were two number 25s. If you look up here, you have Jalissa with her prom dress. The 25 I'm going to be doing is the second 25, graphing this system of inequalities. Now, to help make this easier for you to see at home, I'm going to go ahead and color code this so that you can go back and tell these two graphs apart at the end. I'm going to color code my first graph, y is greater than or equal to x minus 3 in green. I'm going to code the y is less than negative x plus 2 in pink. So the first thing I need to do is graph the basic part of my line. And to do that, I'm going to refer back to my slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. And I'm going to pull out my y-intercept from this first equation, or inequality in this case. So my y-intercept is going to be negative 3, so I'm going to put a point at negative 3. 1, 2, 3. Remember, this should be on the y-axis. Now my slope, I don't have a number in front of the x, so I know that that's going to be a 1. So I'm going to have a slope that goes up 1 and over 1. And that gives me enough dots to give me an idea of how my line is going to go. Now, since this is an inequality instead of an equation, I got to think about whether I want to draw a solid line or a dashed line on this. The key that's going to give it away to me is if I go back and look at my symbol. In this case, it's greater than or equal to. Since it has the line underneath it that makes it or equal to, that means we are going to have a solid line, as any dot on the solution would be, or any dot on this line would be a solution to this inequality. So this is going to be a solid line. I'm going to use a ruler to draw that in. Now I also need to do some shading. If it is going to be greater than or equal to, I'm going to shade above the line. So I'm going to come to my graph and I'm going to just shade in my area above that line. This is the area that would have solutions. Any point in the shaded region would make this original statement true. Now, since this is a system, I also have to graph the second one. And I'm going to do that the exact same way. I'm going to look at my y-intercept. In this case, it's going to be a positive 2. And I'm going to put a dot there. Now, this time, my slope has a negative in front of it, but no number, so I know my slope is going to be a negative 1. So instead of going up 1 and right 1, we're going to go down 1 and right 1. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and give myself a couple points of reference to be able to graph this. Now notice this time we have it strictly less than. We don't have a line underneath it to be equal to. So because of that, instead of drawing a solid line like we would do when we're doing a normal line, we're going to have to do a dashed line. So I'm going to put my ruler here, and instead of connecting every single point, I'm just going to draw some dashes to help draw this line. So you can see I don't have a continuous line, I have one that is dotted. That means if we have a point on this line, it is not going to be part of the solution. Now I also still have to do shading. Now this time it's a less than symbol. Whenever we have a less than or equal to symbol, we're going to shade below the graph. So I'm going to shade everything that is below that line. And I have graphed my system of inequalities. Now, if I were asked to provide a solution for this system of inequalities, it would be any point that is in this double shaded region where I have the pink and the green overlapping. So, for example, if I pick this point right here, negative 1, 0, that would be a solution. If I did negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 5, 0, it would be a solution. But if I had a point up here that was just green or just pink, or over here where it wasn't shaded at all, those would not be solutions. That wraps up our video on solving systems of inequalities. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask us in class. Otherwise, stay tuned for more Georgia Milestone Review.